Hello and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. In today's video we'll be discussing which teams have the best fixtures to start the season and which players you should be targeting to get the best start in FPL this season. If you do enjoy the content, why not subscribe to the channel, like the video and comment down below which teams you're going to be looking to target. But without further ado, let's dive into today's video. Starting off our video, we have Arsenal, who have the best opening 6 game week fixtures, starting off with Crystal Palace away on Friday night, opening the Premier League, then move to Leicester at home, Bournemouth away, Fulham at home, Aston Villa at home and Manchester United away. An absolutely scintillating start for Arsenal. If they're not picking up at least 5 out of the 6 wins there, then there's something definitely wrong. And they're a team that are very, very much capable of that. As we can see from the stats last season, did finish 5th. Very disappointing come the end. There was a few results. I think it was the Brighton one. Seemed like a real catalyst moment within their season where they kind of just capitulated. Maybe that little bit of lack of depth that Spurs had over them meant that Spurs got top 4 in the end. A little bit of a disappointing season, but still plenty of positives and plenty of positives from an FPL standpoint as well. Arsenal obviously scoring a lot of goals, 7th most in the league, keeping it nice and tight as well at the back with an okay-ish XG around 7th, but for the kind of players within their price range, that is something definitely to be worth targeting. But the 3 players that I have decided to identify for you to target are Saka. Obviously had an absolutely scintillating season last year. He was stupendous. 11 goals, 9 assists, Arsenal's highest scoring player, and played all 38 games for the Gunners. Was on penalties at times, takes set pieces as well. He is Arsenal's key man. He is their danger man. He is the one that you want in your team. However, the only sticking point that I'd probably have with Saka this season is going to be his potential price point. Obviously the game hasn't come out yet. If you do know what his price point is going to be when it comes out, then don't comment below because I don't know at the moment. The game's not come out, the fixtures just have. The price prediction that I've given him is around the 7 to 7.5 million mark, and I think that will put a lot more questions about maybe do you include Saka. But with this absolutely fantastic start to Arsenal's campaign, then I think for me it's a real no-brainer to have Saka in your team. The next player that I've had identified, is Ramsdale. Personally, I'm not going to go for Ramsdale, just down to the fact that there was, I can't remember the guy who tweeted it, but there was a comparison between all the goalkeepers in the league. Aaron Ramsdale had an absolutely fantastic start with underlying data and kind of that sort of metrics. Had a brilliant start, but fell away, similar to Arsenal's form in the second half of the season. So there's a lot of question marks about him. There's question marks about his England performance as well, but I've included him because I think a lot of casual players will go for Aaron Ramsdale. Obviously, they'll see the good performances he had last year, see that Arsenal have this great fixture run, and it is a really good fixture run. You'd expect them to keep at least probably 4 clean sheets there. That's being very ambitious, but yeah, definitely 4 clean sheets I think they could achieve. And if you do have Ramsdale, then that would be a very good option. But I do believe, similar to Saka, his price point's definitely going to be one that puts me off. He's probably going to be around 5 to 5.5 million, and at that price I just think there's better options to use that 1 million if I went for, say, a 4.5 goalkeeper like David Raya or Sanchez, which is kind of where my eyes are looking at the moment. But if you do want to go for an Arsenal defender, there are plenty of options for them as well. Ben White, Gabriel, Tierney, I think they could also be fantastic options. But I put Ramsdale here as I do believe a lot more of the casual players will select Ramsdale. And the final player that I'm going to recommend is Nketiah, yet to sign a contract at Arsenal. However, talks are ongoing, and I believe he could be a real gem for the start of the season. A lot of people are looking at Mitrovic and Dominic Solanke as their kind of cheap forward alternatives, and I think they are great options. However, with the poor fixtures, that Bournemouth have, and kind of Fulham's mixed bag, they're definitely putting me off, and I am looking at other cheap forward alternatives kind of up till my first wild card, and I do believe Nketiah could be the option. Nketiah last season Scored 5 goals, getting 1 assist in only 824 minutes. Arsenal are yet to sign a striker as well. Obviously, they've been linked with a dozen players who could play up front. However, there's kind of been no real progress amongst that, and Nketiah seems to be like he could be the only one up front come the first few game weeks if Arsenal haven't signed a forward. But do just make sure that he is definitely signed on and definitely signed a contract before putting him in your team, because otherwise, well, he's not going to be in the game, is he, either? But I do believe if he is priced between, say, 5.5 and 6.5 million, he could be a real gem for the start of the season. And that is Arsenal for you. Moving on to the second best fixtures for the opening 6 games. Yeah, that sounds about right. Is the second best team in the league, as you can see from the data on your left. It is Liverpool. Liverpool start the season away at Fulham. Then they take on Crystal Palace at home, Manchester United away, Bournemouth at home, Newcastle at home, and Everton away. Fulham at home on the opening day is absolutely delicious for FPL managers. I think it's definitely worth going for a Liverpool triple up from the start. I believe Salah, Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk are all fantastic options. As you can see from the data, Liverpool had an absolutely blinding season. 94 goals, 21 clean sheets, really good XG and XG conceded, but in the end ultimately fell away to the better side in Manchester City, who had better data. But 94 goals for a team is still absolutely unbelievable. I can't remember the stat off the top of my head, but if Liverpool had played most campaigns, I think they'd have only lost 5 out of the last 20 or so years of the Premier League, which is absolutely insane. They were a brilliant team, but ultimately just didn't cross the line. But the players that I'm suggesting to target, number 1, Mohamed Salah, 23 goals, 14 assists, Golden Boot winner and most assists winner. I can't remember what that award's called, but yeah, he got the most assists as well. Great season for Salah. However, did struggle after AFCON, didn't really come back the same player. I think that's where you made up a lot of ground if you moved away from Salah and went for someone like Son last season. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how he recovers over the summer. Obviously, there's still negotiations going on about his contract and kind of all that saga. Liverpool as well signing forward players as well, so is there going to be a little bit more rotation within that front three? Probably so, but I do believe Salah is obviously the very safe pick for captaincy for game week 1 and for game week 2. To be honest, he's a very safe pick. You know what you're getting with Mohamed Salah. It is the big question mark though around what position he is going to be playing. Will he be a midfielder? Will he be a forward? Let me know down in the comments. Personally, I'm leaning towards him being more of a forward, but Mohamed Salah, safe bet. You can't really go wrong with him. The next player that I'm recommending is the highest scoring defender in FPL last season, and that is Trent Alexander-Arnold. 2 goals and 12 assists for the Liverpool man, and it was a really good season for Trent. I think the second half of the season, his numbers didn't quite add up, and he was outperformed by the likes of Matip and Van Dijk and Robertson in terms of FPL returns. So there is a little bit of question mark on that. He will be the highest priced defender in the game. He'll probably be about 8 to 8.5 million this year, which is absolutely bonkers, but he's worth it. He's worth it. You know, the 12 assists, the 2 goals for a defender is absolutely scintillating. Liverpool with the most clean sheets as well last season, so you know you're getting at least the clean sheets. I definitely think it could be something to target with these first 6 game weeks as well, is a potential Liverpool double up at the back, maybe a Robbo and Trent, or a Trent and Van Dijk would be a really good option. And the final player that I'm going to recommend is Luis Diaz. 4 goals, 3 assists in 13 Premier League games. Really settled into the Liverpool side and really settled into English football. Obviously, we spoke about it a little bit earlier, is the depth of quality that Liverpool now have. Obviously, that is something to take into consideration. However, the reason I've included Diaz is I think he'll be down as a midfielder and the rest will be down as forwards, which could give him that extra advantage, especially if he's playing pretty regularly. You know, you can kind of predict when he's going to play, because the other players like Jota, Salah, Firmino, they're all kind of going to be marked down as forwards for me within the game. If Diaz is the only one marked down as a midfielder, that could be a really, really good point where you could definitely take advantage of the 1-2 points he's going to get extra on top of that with clean sheets, stuff like that. So that's the reason I've included Luis Diaz. And I also believe he's probably within the starting lineup come game week 1. I honestly do believe that. And Fulham away, all the great fixtures that Liverpool have got. It's a really, really good team. I definitely think it's going to be worth a Liverpool triple up come the start of the season. And the next team that we're going to be focusing on are Manchester City. We spoke about Liverpool being the second best. Well, City were the first. As you can see from last season, 99 goals, 21 clean sheets, really good XG, really good, a fantastic XG conceded, by the way. 23.95 is unbelievable, considering Liverpool had the second best defence in the league and they had 32 something. XG conceded. It's absolutely phenomenal what City did last year without a forward as well at that. Let's just get that into our heads. It's absolutely unbelievable. And City start the season with strong fixtures. West Ham away, Bournemouth at home, Newcastle away, Crystal Palace at home, Nottingham Forest at home, and Aston Villa away. This could be the best time to own City assets as well. As you know, there's no Carabao Cup, there's no Champions League. They don't start till September, so you could really take advantage of the August fixtures and the lack of rotation that you're potentially going to see with Manchester City. The players that I have identified are, of course, the man that you can see on your screen, Haaland. Obviously, we've got to add this man at some point in our team this season. 24 games last season, 22 goals and 8 assists. He's going to rip the Premier League apart. That is my prediction. I don't care what people say about Bundesliga tax and his injury record. Who cares? He's still going to get at least probably 15 goals this season. That's my prediction. In the Premier League, I think he'll be used quite a lot as well within the Champions League for Pep, offering him a little bit of an alternative from what they had this season. So that's why I've only gone for 15 goals. But yeah, there is a little bit of concern around his injury record, picking up a few muscular injuries during his time at Dortmund. There is question marks about that, but I do believe with Haaland, I think he's going to be one of them players when City have the good fixtures, you have him in your team. When they don't, you replace him with, say, a Ronaldo, a Kane, Son, if he's down as a forward. He's going to be that kind of player where when the fixtures suit, you put him in. When they don't, he comes out. Simple as that. The next player that I've identified as well is João Cancelo, second highest scoring defender within the game last season. 1 goal, 11 assists, and had the most shots among defenders last season. Obviously, my big concern with João Cancelo is if they sign Cucurella and if they keep Zinchenko, then there's a lot of kind of cover for Cancelo, and I definitely could see him being a little bit more rotated. Last season, he played every pretty much big game because he was that important to City. There is always that question mark around Pep Roulette. What do you do with that? Cancelo probably going to be the second highest priced defender in the game, probably about 7.5 million for his services. So it is a little bit of a question mark. Do you gamble? Do you play the Pep Roulette? But with such good XG conceded last season and keeping 21 clean sheets, for me, is a real no-brainer. He's definitely going to be in my first draft, but I will definitely have to take into consideration if they sign Cucurella. And the final player that we're going to recommend from Manchester City is KDB. 15 goals, 8 assists, and only 30 Premier League games. Premier League Player of the Season as well, somehow. We won't talk about that, but absolutely phenomenal season from him. Fully carried City at the end to the title with his absolutely brilliant performance against Wolves. I was absolutely delighted to have him in my team for that game. Let's just say that. You probably weren't as fortunate, but that's why you should watch this channel and that's why you should subscribe, because I was shouting his name for a few weeks before. You should get KDB in, but that's enough about that. We want him in this season as well. I think there is going to be a lack of good midfielder options with the likes of Salah and Son moving forward, so KDB definitely could be an appetising option. Obviously, we know everything that he's about. He's probably going to be back on penalties as well, I believe, this season, with Mahrez missing the last one. So definitely a good shout for him. Again, similar to Haaland, there are question marks about his injury record. So just make sure he's fit for the start of the season. But definitely City assets. Definitely want to double up, maybe triple up with that really appetising start to the season. Let me know. Are you considering adding any Manchester City players to your start? And the team with the 4th best rated fixtures are Wolves. Now, for me, when I was making this graphic, I couldn't believe how dreadful Wolves' XG and XG conceded were. An XG of 38.24, that's the 19th best. I think only Norwich had worse. It's really, really dreadful from Wolves and really puts me off a lot of their assets, to be honest. And the XG conceded as well, 12th best in the league. Obviously did keep a lot of clean sheets last year, 11, and I think that drew a lot of people to the Wolves assets. Jose Sarr, Connor Cody, Marcel, Johnny. A lot of people had Wolves defenders within their teams last season, and with the strong fixture start that Wolves have, I do believe that'll be a draw again. Leeds United away, Fulham at home, Tottenham away, Newcastle at home, Bournemouth away, and Southampton away. Obviously, like we said, the draw of that. But for me, it puts a lot of players like kind of off it. I do believe Wolves' assets will be very highly owned, but I feel a lot of them will be overpriced for what they actually are. So let's get into it. Jose Sarr, best goalkeeper in FPL last season. Like, if you had him from the start, brilliant. But this year, he's going to be overpriced. He's going to be 5.5 million. And for me, a team that have the 12th best expected goals in the league, like, it's just not worth the 5.5. I could get a David Raya. I could get myself a Sanchez, who I believe are better quality, and I could use that extra million elsewhere to make my team better. But I do believe he'll be highly owned, and, you know, Wolves were at times really solid, really defensively good last season, but it kind of crumbled away at the end, and I do believe that will continue into next season. So I'm not looking forward to kind of having to debate Wolves players just purely down to the poor XG. Next player is Connor Cody, Mr. Reliable for me in my team. Popped up with a few goals and was just pretty standard. You know, it's what you want from a 4.5 million defender. When Wolves had good fixtures, you'd pop him in, he'd come up with a clean sheet. It's what you wanted. But this season, I do believe he'll probably be overpriced again, probably around the 5 million. But if there are any Wolves defenders that start playing between 4 and 4.5 million, they could be really, really good assets for the start of this season. And the final player that I'm going to recommend is Jimenez, but with 19th XG. Like, I just don't feel confident about owning any Wolves assets, to be honest. As soon as I saw they had like the 4th best fixtures in terms of ranking, I just wasn't thrilled. Like, I looked through the whole team and I was just like, no, I don't like. I feel they're going to be overpriced for what they are. They had a really, really poor drop-off. I could be completely wrong on this, and they could completely change the way they play, but I just can't see it. I think they'll still be defensively. I think they'll be still quite a negative team, and for me, none of their assets stick out. But if you do want to go for Wolves players, Sarr, Cody, any 4.5 million or 4 million defenders that are going to play, they're the ones that you should be looking to go for. And the 5th best rated fixtures were Brighton. Brighton start the season away at Manchester United, Newcastle at home, West Ham away, Leeds United at home, Fulham away, and Leicester at home. I honestly think Brighton won't win any of them first 3 games. I'm absolutely flabbergasted how Brighton finished 9th as well. Graham Potter is doing absolutely miracles at Brighton. I think it goes massively under the radar as well. Brilliant XG conceded from them as well. 6th in the league. Finished 9th. Like, they're just a team that seem to just win odd games or not win odd game. You know what I mean? They're just a really, really weird team of kind of nobodies, is kind of how I put it on my notes. You know, there's no player in there that you go, oh, he's key, he's the one, yeah. There's none of them type of players. It's a team of just really, really odd bods and kind of stuff. But Graham Potter gets it to work. But for me, I think the first 3 fixtures are a little bit kind of skewed by the ranking. Manchester United is going to be a completely different side. They'll want to impress Erik ten Hag on his opening game. Newcastle as well, they're going to inject a lot of money into their starting side, so that's going to be no longer a green for me. And West Ham did finish the season poorly, but we know what quality West Ham have. Jarrod Bowen and the likes of that, playing at the London Stadium as well. We'll have to see how that one goes. But for the players recommended, first of all, I've gone for Cucurella. If you're looking for kind of a 5 million defender with goodish fixtures to start the season, Cucurella could definitely be the one. Links to Manchester City, so do just make sure that he is still playing for Brighton. 1 goal, 1 assist last season. I actually thought he did better with the raid that kind of people are raving about him. But if you do look at his heat maps, he is bombing all the time, up and down, up and down. He is going to be a fantastic player, and I can definitely see why City have that interest in him, and definitely one of the most nailed Brighton players that you can pick. Next is Leandro Trossard, Brighton's highest scoring player last season, 8 goals, 4 assists. He's very much a hot and cold player for me, not someone that I'm going to probably want in my team unless Brighton maybe have like doubles or really, really good fixtures, or if he's just hit his purple patch. Very much a purple patch player. When he is on form, he's on form. When he's not, there's no point owning him. He'll probably be about 6 to 6.5 million, so definitely one to maybe keep an eye on if he starts the season well. And finally, everyone's biggest FPL troll is Neil Maupay, the disgrace himself.
Maupay, you are an absolute disgrace. You're a cheat. I hope Brighton get relegated.
8 goals, 3 assists last season, and as we can see from Brighton's goals, 15th in the league with 10th best XG, so there's an underperformance from the forwards. Maupay missed a few penalties as well, I believe, last season. It wasn't his best season. He's always been a bit of a troll. He'll show up with the odd goal and then just completely disappear for a few weeks. I do believe Brighton have signed another forward, but I can't remember if he's gone back out on loan or the name of him as well. But I remember seeing something in the deep recesses of Twitter somewhere that they'd signed a forward who had really good stats from the Belgian league. Just something that Brighton would do. But if he kind of starts the season on fire, he could be an unknown asset and someone we definitely could be worth looking at. But if you have enjoyed today's video, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone kind of over the summer. We made a few videos and they've kind of done really, really well, especially the championship ones. We're closing in on 200 subscribers and it is absolutely mind-boggling to me. So thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed. We are trying to hit 1,000 by the end of the year, so if you do like the content that you see on the channel, why not subscribe? Stick around. I've got plenty planned for pre-season and the season coming up, so please do stick around, like the video, subscribe and comment down below, and have a really good day.